Today I'm going to show you how to make peanut butter eggs that you can use for Easter or whatever you want them for. Really easy to do. Let's get started. I have my peanut butter, and this is close to a cup, probably 3/4 of a cup. I don't really normally measure when I do this, but right around 3/4 of a cup to a cup of peanut butter. And then about a tablespoon of normal butter here. Let's mix these two together. There we go. That butter is optional, just adds a little bit of flavor. And now I'm going to add just a little pinch of salt in there. Perfect. And then also I have almond flour here. This is optional, but it's going to add body and strength to the interior of this egg. So I'm going to start with just about 1/4 of a cup. I have a cup, half a cup total, but let's just start with 1/4 of a cup. Let's add the rest of that in there. So a full half cup of almond flour. And then if you don't want to use almond flour, you can just take peanuts and grind those up finely. Okay, and now powdered sugar. It's way too sticky to work with right now, so we need powdered sugar. This is about a cup of powdered sugar, and we're just gonna add a little bit at a time. And we're just gonna keep adding this powdered sugar until we get a nice, kind of like a Play-Doh consistency. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put on some gloves here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some of this, about a tablespoon worth, depending on the size of our eggs that we want to make. Kind of about that size, and we shape it into an egg. And then we're going to put a toothpick in it, because that is how we're going to dip it. And I'm just going to set this right here in my little mini muffin tin, and then this is going to go in the freezer. And you don't have to worry too much about the shape right now, because we'll shape it. We'll give it a quick shaping right before we dip them. Once we have all the egg shapes formed with the toothpick in them, we put this in the freezer, and we're going to freeze them for 25 to 30 minutes. We need them to be very firm, so then we can dip them onto that step. Now time to melt the chocolate. I have some white chocolate here, and then I have some blue candy melts. And then I'm just gonna do these in the microwave, bursts of 20-30 seconds, and then stir 20 seconds, stir until it's nice and runny and melted. Or you can melt them using the double boiler method on a burner. Once you have your chocolate melted, you're gonna grab one of these semi-frozen eggs and further shape it into an egg shape or oblong, something resembling an egg. Kind of roll it smooth a little bit, and then we're gonna dip it, go straight down and out, and let the excess drip off. And now the tricky part is trying to get this to look really nice, and also to be able to get the toothpick out without everything cracking. So it can be a little tricky, this part. So it might take some practice, and they may not be perfect every time, okay? So you're just gonna hold it for a little bit, and you want that chocolate to dry, but you don't want it to dry all the way, because we need to get this toothpick out, if that makes sense. And sometimes gravity will just let it do its thing and come out. And you may or may not want to put it into styrofoam, so that one turned out perfect. See that? And I usually just keep them in the freezer as I do these. And what's nice about them being cold is the outer chocolate shell, it just dries pretty fast, so you don't have to do this forever. Another way you can do is you can just shape them more flat, the eggs, and then just dip them and put them on a piece of parchment paper flat. and they will look more like the chocolate flat eggs that you can get at the store, like the Reese's brand. Okay, nice and dry to the touch. We'll just give that little, perfect. And then you can just kind of fill in that hole, or even do a little dip to fill in that hole like that. I wanted to show you what it would look like if you just put it on parchment paper one side. So it develops a little flat side like that. But if you don't mind the flat side, it's way easier and quicker to make them like that as opposed to like this where you try to get it more completely round. It's still pretty difficult to get them completely round. That's a pretty good one. And now an optional step that you can do to make them so they don't look so clean is I have about 1.5 teaspoons of a cocoa powder right here. I'm gonna add a little bit of water to this. Okay. Then what we can do is we can kind of flick it. And then it kind of gives the egg maybe like a little robin egg look to it, I guess. And you don't even need that much cocoa powder. You can go to like 1/4 teaspoon. This is purely optional. And then you can also decorate these eggs however you want. Pretty cool. You can do like some Easter egg decorations with them. A lot of fun stuff that you can do with these peanut butter eggs. And then I want to take these over here. And then I have this, and this is just a little Easter like grass they call it. And then you can take these eggs and we're gonna put them right in there. And there you go. Little peanut butter Easter eggs. Pretty cool. Take this one and bite into it and show you what it looks like on the inside. So tasty. Well, there you have it. That's how you make peanut butter eggs for Easter or whatever you might want them for. Thumbs up down in the corner, press it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. Take care. Time for me to dive into another one of these. Oh yeah. We'll grab this one. Mmm.